You are listening to the Savage FINcast, Episode 17, The Prosecution Rests.
Chicago. A criminal mastermind called Overlord held our city in his terrifying grip. Ordinary cops were losing the battle against Overlord's super freaks and mutants. Then, a miracle happened. When I found him, he had no memory of his past. I helped him find an identity and a life. Now we have a fighting chance. Now we have the Dragon.
This is the Savage FINcast. Coming in for our 17th episode. We thought we'd do things a little bit differently this episode, and we would reintroduce ourselves since it's been a while since we've told you why you should care about what we say. I'm Jim Purcell. I've been a Savage Dragon fan since 2001. Erik Larsen fan since about the same time.
I'm Raven Perez. I co-run the DragonFan.net website, and I found Savage Dragon was my first Erik Larsen exposure, so, screw all that Spider-Man noise.
Spider who?
Spider what?
I love old Spider-Man. I'm Craig Olson, and I caught the Larsen bug probably, I think it was the summer of 1990. Issue 336 of Amazing Spider-Man was really the first time I kind of really took notice of a comic book artist, and it just took me by storm. That's 23 years ago, so I'm still here. Man. Yeah, I'm an old man. I left comics for a while and came back. I think I collected Savage Dragon through maybe issue 13. Came back in around issue 75, I think. And it's just been a nonstop love affair. I help Raven over here with DragonFan.net. We've done the Savage Dragon wiki with the Savage Dragon editor, Gavin Higginbotham.
That'll never sound right.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
And I'm proud and pleased to join this little FINcast. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Always good to help spread the word about the best damn comic in comic books.
So there you go. And usually Adam Pruitt joins us, but he can't make it today. He'll be missed.
The little bird says he should be
Rip.
back. Right? Did you say rip?
I said rip.
So
shall we move on to Erik Larsen news?
Let's move along. I think we've got some awesome stuff this time. Wanted to let everybody know that the cover and solicitation for Savage Dragon 189 dropped. The exciting, we're barreling towards 200. The countdown to the single biggest change in Savage Dragon history starts here. The dragon is in jail, but is he locked up with his greatest enemies, or are they locked up with him? Find out in The Cage.
I love
it. Well said.
Very exciting. You get to see Dragon and fan favorite Mako, the Shark Man.
No, wrong one.
What?
That's the cover for issue 190.
That is, so the cover for 189, hold on, I'm testing the old memory banks.
It's a dragon being stared down by a bunch of silhouettes.
Shadows of prisoners, right. Okay, sorry folks, didn't mean to lie to you. 189.
I love that too. They're all in their little orange prison jumpsuits.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it's gonna. I can't help but think of Andy Dufresne.
All I know is that, you put a bunch of guys in prison. Prison sucks anyway. It's probably not going to be that. It's probably not going to help it. Everyone there hates you.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Everyone in prison hates you anyway. Just imagine the extra level of hate. Dragon ain't getting his cornbread. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, he also released the cover for Savage Dragon 190. I mistakenly described earlier. It's Dragon and Mako both in their prison jumpsuits having a brawl. So I don't think that our hero's in for a good time.
What I find interesting about this cover is last time we see Mako, which I believe is the issue we're about to talk about, he's not in prison. So at some point in the next few months, he must be going to prison, unless it's a
Oh
December
yeah,
cover.
that's true.
Library book fee, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And I wonder who pulls him into prison.
Well, he's
You're
Mako.
right. With Dragon, not. Yeah. Well, good
Yeah, that would
point.
be interesting. Because, like you said, we're talking about 185 this episode, and he's in the episode at the Freak Outpost. So
Yeah.
Library
interesting.
fees.
Good point.
What? Telling you.
Maybe it's a breakout. Break in.
Dragon covers are not known to be honest,
No.
so could be anything.
Well, then it either means one or the other. Then it means Dragon's not in jail.
I see.
Yeah,
Anything
but
could
they're both
happen.
wearing prison jumpsuits, so I think we're to assume it's in jail.
They're probably in space.
Yeah.
You know what?
Most
Alternate
logical
reality.
conclusion.
The alternate reality, they're in like a Walking Dead sort of a thing. They're trying to just wait in the prison until the zombie apocalypse blows over.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the most likely scenario given the popularity of Walking Dead. Who wouldn't want to cash in on that?
So moving on, we have actually a pretty big piece of news. Well, it may or may not be big, but
It's big.
Erik has begun talking about switching Savage Dragon's lettering from hand lettering to digital. He pointed out that hand lettering was adding a significant time to the production schedule of Savage Dragon. It was one of those things where he has to ship fully inked pages to a letterer, who then draws the letters directly on the art and then have it mailed back to him. And it was just adding so much turnaround time per page, that it was actually actively leading to late missed deadlines. So he's, for practicality reasons, to keep Savage Dragon on a monthly schedule, he's suspending the use of hand lettering at the moment.
Well,
it's compounded.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think he was just talking about that. I think the reason why he's suspending it now was because Tom Wojciechowski was booked up. I guess he's doing digital lettering.
Right, but
I don't think he really does any other hand lettering.
That seems to me is more of an excuse to do it now as opposed to at some other point. It's just that right now is just a good time to make a clean break because his regular letter isn't available. So he's doing it now, but he's known for a while that it's been causing delays over time. He's just been finding a good place to make the transition.
Yeah.
So
you think about that process. I mean, if you digitally letter a page, you can bang it out and have it look pretty darn good in, honest to goodness, 5 to 10 minutes.
Right.
Hand lettering is not a 5 to 10 minute endeavor if you want it to look good.
Right.
And
well, I'm sure it takes more than literally 5 to 10 minutes to make it look good, but I get what you're saying.
You'd be amazed. I mean, there's so much variety of font. You can do a lot.
I gotta imagine that it costs a lot more to have someone hand letter something.
Well, that and the shipping costs, because those things ain't light, and you got to mail 22 of them, or 20, I guess.
But just, I mean, you look at a piece of original art with like hand lettering and hand sound effects and all of, the lines that you have to draw in to, properly space all your lettering and everything. Right. It's a tedious job, and I can understand why people aren't into doing it anymore. Well, even though it looks way better, but
you bring up sound effects, and I find, and at first I thought it wasn't going to be a really significant change because the lettering's all very tight and neat anyway. So get a font, you're good to go. You shouldn't notice a difference. But then I thought about the fact that all the sound effects are done by the letterer, and if I remember correctly, Supreme used digital lettering and digital sound effects, and I believe I made note of it in a previous episode that the sound effects were noticeably simpler than what we saw in Savage Dragon.
Yeah, they just look stiffer too.
Yeah,
I mean, they don't
stiffer. There's less dynamicness to them, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It just looks like a letter kind of pasted.
I'm kind of hoping that what's going to happen is that Erik is going to start doing his own sound effect lettering.
I mean, that's good.
So.
It's good, but I mean, a good letterer like John Workman or something can make, or Chris Eliopoulos. You look at his sound effects, and it's hard to reproduce those kind of sound effects. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure Erik can draw a sound effect if he wanted to, but
yeah,
I mean, it's still the skill of actually making it look really awesome.
Right.
There's definitely a skill difference there. Like Jim said, I mean, digital fonts for dialogue, perfect. I mean, okay, you know what? Not perfect. If you ever read a really good hand-lettered book, you know that even there's still a difference. But like you said, with Dragon, they don't do a lot of stuff like Spawn or, say, Empowered, where the dialogue font is like super expressive.
Yeah, and it's like integral to the artwork in a lot of respects in those cases.
Exactly, but I 100% agree. In the realm of sound effects, I don't think fonts have caught up. Maybe they'll get there.
It's funny though you say that the expressiveness of like the fonts. If you look at some of the Claw's dialogue now, villain that's going to be coming up. It was a preview for 186, but his font is totally expressive. It's a totally different looking font. So I wonder how that's gonna. If Eric's going to hand letter that or how that works, or if he's using something modeled after a digital font. I don't know.
It'll be interesting. It is a big change, I think, because hand lettering is definitely part of the aesthetic.
Yeah. And Jim, you didn't mention, but Chris Eliopoulos will be doing the digital lettering, I guess, at least for 186.
Right. He did the Supreme lettering too, so.
Yeah, and he was the original hand letterer for. I don't know if he was original, but he was the longest running hand letterer.
Right. I can't remember if he did the earliest issues, but he definitely was there forever. So it'll be interesting to see what that really means going forward. But it is going to be an interesting transition, I'm sure. Hopefully, it means issues out monthly, but. Savage Dragon.
Right.
I think it'll help. I think it'll help a lot. Like you already said, think of the time involved through just the mail.
I mean, all you got to do is email. It's instantaneous. I mean.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, on a page with no sound effects, I mean, because we know it's Dragon. There's pages where it's pure dialogue, no sound effects. On a page with pure dialogue, you can blaze through that like so quick. It's so good. So, I don't know. It'll help a lot. Think about how much it would have helped on this issue we're about to review.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was dialogue heavy. Most of it dialogue. Bam. You could have blazed through it.
Right.
It's a good thing. I think it's as good. It's a change, but I think in the long run, it'll really help.
Yeah, it's hard to see because I mean, what other American monthly comic is hand lettered anymore? It's like the only ones I can think of. I don't even know anymore. There's some of them where was Bone hand lettered by the
probably.
Yeah,
I can't say for certain. It's so hard to tell these days.
Oh, you know what?
What?
Bone, I remember, actually was a combination of a font based on his handwriting, and he would also do some hand lettering when he needed that extra level of expressiveness.
That makes sense.
And what's his new comic? I wonder. Is he doing?
He did Razzle. That's ended.
Yeah, is that done?
Oh yeah, that's done. It was a pretty good series. I can't tell you if it was hand lettered or not. There's other series that I suspect are hand lettered, like Usagi Yojimbo, but I can't confirm nor deny that.
I think maybe. Do you think Brandon Graham hand letters?
Looks
but
like
he's not.
Oh yeah, he definitely. I say definitely, but I wouldn't bet dollars to donuts that he hand letters his King City and multiple Warheads, and because the amount of stuff he just puts into his artwork, it just suggests that he's got to be doing the whole thing.
Yeah, but that's also not like a traditional comic. I mean, there's not many traditional lettering,
monthly. You mean
done? Yeah, or even in general at all. Like, I just don't see it. It's sad. Or like, especially superhero comics.
Well,
Empowered has a lot of it.
Yeah, it's not monthly though.
No, but sometimes if you want to see a really good example of somebody who's still making a lot with his hand lettering, I mean, sometimes you can even still see the line work where he's done like the little Ames guide to keep it straight.
Right. Yeah. Because he does everything in that sketch style.
Yep, it's like a scanned pencil. It looks like.
Yeah. It's
real good. Check it out for.
But I mean,
if you want to see.
In most cases, it's the artists that are lettering it. There's no more specialized letterers really doing hand lettering anymore.
I don't know. I think that sort of undersells digital letters. I think there's still skill involved there, but it's just different.
I guess. I don't know.
I would say, I hope I'm not stepping on anyone's toes. I don't mean to, but I went from hand lettering my stuff to like digital fonts, and it is so much easier. It's ridiculous. Read Johnny the Homicidal Maniac if you want to see some bad hand lettering.
Yeah.
Bad hand lettering can really make a book hard to read. So just fonts really have helped a lot with getting rid of that. But like a really good hand letterer, it's a crazy skill.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas anybody can grab up a font and make it look decent.
Yeah, but a lot of your really good digital letterers make their own fonts.
I would agree. Totally.
Adam Pruitt's probably listening to us talk right now and throwing stuff at his computer, like screaming at the top of his lungs.
It is a skill.
I'm sure he'll have. I know he wants to talk about lettering the next episode, so maybe we can talk in depth about the Savage Dragon letters next episode.
Yeah, we should probably pick his brain about this because
I know he said he wanted to talk about it, so maybe we could do that next episode.
Heck yeah.
Okay.
All right, so the next news item is apparently there's a big change in Savage Dragon's going to happen starting with issue 193. Erik's hinted that a big change will be happening, and he tweeted the following. He said, "Certain issue numbers trigger an emotional response from me. 193 calls to mind Jack Kirby's return to Marvel and Captain America. 193 also brings to mind Herb Trimpe's last issue as the regular penciler of the Incredible Hulk. 193 is a time of change. A huge change in direction will take place with Savage Dragon 193 as well. Not a new creative team, of course, but a change nonetheless." And then that was a series of tweets he posted. And then one of his followers asked if it would be a good jumping on point, and Erik said, "The best jumping on point since the first issue." Bum, bum, bum.
Well, that's vague.
So it is, and it makes you think. Is someone gonna die? Is
what again? I honestly, it's so. He's done so many of those things in the past, and the way it sounds is that it's probably not going to be a retread. So I wouldn't put any money on anyone dying, or returns, or blowing up planets. I think we're going to be surprised on whatever it is, because it's just a feeling.
What do you think? A huge change in direction. Is it going to become a team book or something?
That's not a bad thought. that's. I don't know.
The Vicious Circle becoming good guys under Powerhouse, and
it'll just be about the Vicious. Well, maybe. Well, I don't see that happening.
Well, you got to think it's 7 issues from 200, and whatever it is, he's kind of a numbers guy with his issues, so he's not going to not have something big for 200 as well.
That's true.
So you got to wonder how big this big change really can be with 7 issues to play with.
Yeah. One other thing, the thing about his nostalgia about issue 193. On one hand, it's kind of cool because he really resonates with these milestones of his youth. But at the same time, it almost feels like he's missing opportunities to create his own milestones. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a personal book. It's kind of fun that there are those like. Anybody that's read his stuff knows he's always doing comparisons to other long-running series. So I guess he can't help but look at things he's passing by.
Right.
I don't know. I'm guessing.
And it's really up to the reader to decide what a milestone is. If a story falls flat, it's not going to be a milestone.
Maybe Angel will become the main character for a while. That would be awesome.
You know what? The She-Dragon was the main character for a while.
That's
Anything can happen.
I'm predicting that
you can do your team idea with. Well, it'll be all about Angel Dragon and the SOS.
I'm predicting that Flash Mercury and Powerhouse finally succeed in making the Vicious Circle kind of a tool for good.
A threat for.
And Malcolm joins the Vicious Circle and becomes a team book with all those young guys.
I could see that happening.
If that happens, that'll blow my mind.
I briefly had this wonderful idea that Overlord was going to reform Freak Force, and Malcolm and Angel were going to be part of it. But that didn't.
There you go.
Oh, you know what? I am going to go ahead and go out on a limb, since you guys are, and say I believe the book will shift its focus to the Little Wise Guys.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Well, the one died, and I've been worried about them ever since.
But they replaced it with, what's his
You
name?
know, is he really the same? No,
I think it's going to turn into a religious book and follow the Church of Savage Dragon.
Pull a Dave Sim on us all.
You know what? I hope not.
So, moving on.
It would appear that Cardiac is appearing in Superior Spider-Man. Cardiac is, for those of you who are uninformed, the Spider-Man villain co-created and designed by Erik Larsen. He will be making a major return to the Marvel Universe in issue 8 of Superior Spider-Man. Artist Humberto Ramos recently posted the cover and tweeted, unsuccessfully trying to fill Erik Larsen's huge shoes.
So that's a nice little shout out to Erik.
It's also
cool.
kind of scary that Humberto knows his shoes size.
Well, Ramos does draw very big feet.
Oh, he does. Yeah, he would know about filling big shoes, wouldn't he?
And it's cool because Erik is a big fan of Ramos too. I know he's said that in the past. So it's cool that he's the guy kind of drawing Cardiac. And I don't know if you guys saw the cover, but his version of Cardiac looks pretty neat.
I saw shoulder pads. I saw those.
Yeah, not as huge as the ones from the 90s, but
he does look cool though. It's a really given all the new redesigns, with the new 52 and all that garbage, he's kind of got a really cool look.
I think it's those EKG blips that really give him that unique look.
Neat.
Makes him really
I like
recognizable.
the character. I like his little staff, and I like that little jet thing that he connects his staff to and can fly away. He's neat. I was surprised that they didn't use him more. It's I feel like with Spider-Man, it's always the same 5 villains over and over and over again.
It is. All of those characters start with just a freak of the week. They're beating on a new guy all the time, and then over the course of 70 years, everyone picks 6 they like, and they just don't get away from it.
Green Goblin, other Green Goblin, the Rhino,
Hobgoblin, Chameleon,
Electro,
Mysterio,
whoever was in the original Sinister Six.
Exactly. Yeah, very well said. So it is cool, and I don't know, just the extra little bit of tid for folks. Cardiac is a character that Larsen said he sometimes, wished he'd maybe drawn a crappier one instead. So he liked that character, and then they never used it. So it is cool to see this character coming back.
I don't know what's going on in Spider-Man right now. I know Doc Ock and Spider-Man are the same guy. Mm-hmm. I worry that Cardiac may not be long for this world or something ridiculous.
Well. It's not like
they'll bring him back to life eventually.
Yeah.
And then soon, Doc Ock and Peter Parker will get separated, and everything will go back the way it was, and it's like it never happened, and it makes no difference.
Yeah.
And people wonder why I say comics that matter. That's all I'm saying. Pot shot. Pow.
So, we're gonna want to talk to the audience really quick about a new little feature that we're going to be running, hopefully as a regular thing. We're going to try to stump you guys with Savage Dragon Trivia. We're going to throw various questions out there, and if you want to email us your answers to savagefincast@gmail.com, we will post the name of the first person who gets it right.
Or read it on our next episode,
or read the whole letter or read the whole email on our next episode, or something like that.
We'll sing your praises, and it's me, so I might actually sing if I'm in that episode.
It's just a way to get you guys more involved with the show. I think it'll be good.
No, it's cool. We like that you listen, and a lot of the times we have little message board, interactions afterwards, and this is a good way to get that direct interaction.
And I have to say, last episode we got the biggest turnout of comments that we've had yet. So that was really cool. So we want to hear more from the people listening. In general, things you want us to talk about, trivia you want us to bring up, that sort of thing. So don't be afraid to shoot us an email about anything. Just throwing that out there.
Cool.
And the trivia question of the week is?
The question is, besides Erik, what other artist or artists, there are possibly more than one, has had art printed in the main Savage Dragon feature of the ongoing comic? We are not counting covers or backups. I find this question interesting because I personally did not think that anyone else had ever contributed pencils to Savage Dragon. I find I don't even know the answer to this one, so I'm actually kind of curious.
I too was completely surprised that was even the question. Had no clue.
Well, Adam Pruitt posed this question to us, and we talked a little behind the scenes, and I think there's at least two. One I didn't know about, and Adam told me, and then the second one I had a feeling about, and it's not confirmed, but I am pretty sure that it's someone else's pencils. And we'll confer more with Adam and possibly Erik before next episode to make sure we're giving you guys the right answer.
So if you think you know the answer, shoot us an email again at savagefincast@gmail.com. Also, if you have any trivia questions that you'd like us to answer, don't be afraid to send them our way as well, because we like being confused all the time.
We will not use our internet as we buffoonishly guess at your answer. I don't think anybody's going to get this one. I'm going to say, on a scale of 1 to 5 fins, 5 being the hardest, this is 5 fins.
I don't know. I mean, don't forget Gavin's out there.
He doesn't count.
Gavin doesn't count. Gavin can stay way.
Yeah, he's a Savage Dragon editor now. I mean,
sorry, Gav.
Employees of Savage Dragon, paid or not, are not allowed to enter this contest.
Yeah, that's it. You just don't get to participate, son.
Alrighty, so let's get into at least half of our meaty portion of this episode, our discussion of Easter eggs in Savage Dragon, and I want to thank person that goes by the name of Caesar the Scribe from the Savage Dragon message board, the Erik Larsen message board. Recently we posted he posted actually on the forums asking what other people wanted to hear on the Savage FINcast, and he got a discussion going, and got a good turnout of people giving us suggestions of what they wanted to hear. And one of his suggestions was a discussion on Easter eggs, which I thought was a brilliant idea. We've hit on it, here and there on different episodes, but I think it'd be kind of cool to talk about it and go through some of this stuff and get a little dialogue going.
It's also somewhat timely.
Yeah, we got the Easter holiday, Easter eggs.
We're only a week after Easter. Yep, timely.
I'm still eating the candy out of mine.
There you go.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Still lots of Easter eggs out there.
No one has to know that it's not Easter right now. We're recording this at Easter. It's Easter right now. It's Easter morning.
There's a rabbit outside.
We're sitting around with our baskets and fake grass all over the place and
hoping the dog
eating hollow bunnies. Anyway, so Easter eggs in Savage Dragon. I don't know of any comic that has as many Easter eggs as Savage Dragon. And to go over some of the major ones, like I said, we talked about them on past episodes. But the major Easter eggs in Savage Dragon is you got Boom Pow Tacos, which we've talked about that. And it's not only Savage Dragon. I think it's like everything that Erik pretty much works on. He's got some kind of ad or sign for a store for Boom Pow Tacos. Not every issue, but they're sprinkled throughout. And I don't really know the backstory to that one. I mean, that's probably a question for Erik. It probably doesn't mean anything, but if you're reading an Erik Larsen comic, keep your eyes peeled for Boom Pow Tacos.
I think if you've ever eaten a taco, there's a boom or a pow. at some point in your life.
If you guys are interested in, newcomers or any, for listeners, have no idea what this is, I did a quick search and I found at least issue 38 has one, and I know issue 142 there's a Subway ad, like in the Subway train for Boom Pow Tacos. There's a ton more, but I did a real quick search and I found those two right off the bat. One of the biggest Easter eggs, probably the biggest Easter egg in Savage Dragon, is John Day.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about him a mess of times, and I know we've actually talked to Erik about it, and you guys are going to have to remind me because my memory's shot, but I believe John Day he's an acquaintance of Erik's that went to the same comic shop as Erik, and way back in the day, he asked Erik to put him in a comic.
Mm-hmm.
This is I believe pre-Savage Dragon. And ever since then, Erik's pretty much put him in every issue of every comic he's drawn.
So be careful what you wish for, kids. It just might come true.
And you can see John Day pretty much clearly in every issue. He's got glasses. He's bald on top with hair, above his ears, kind of like the Hulk Hogan hair style.
Mm-hmm.
He's got that I don't know. He's in every episode. He's got a mustache, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a mustache and glasses, and he's bald. That's generally how you pick him out of a background crowd.
He's the Waldo of the book. And
I said, go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, even when there's very little opportunity for him to be there, like in issue 0, the origin, John's in it. So he's the only human in the book.
Yeah, issue 0, he's getting dissected or whatever. But yeah, he's there. If you want to see all the issues he's in and get a good look at him, if you don't know who we're talking about, you probably do. But if you go to the Savage Dragon Wiki, savagedragonwiki.wikispaces.com, he's there. His entry's there. So, and he's, like I said, in every episode. So you'll find him, and he's a lot of times getting killed and just always coming back.
Real quick question about John Day. Is he ever called John Day in the comic, or is that just the name we all know him by?
I don't think he's ever called that in the comic, but I don't know.
I don't think he is. Hey, I don't think he's even had a speaking part, has he?
No, never.
I don't think so. I mean, he's been a cop at one point. He's, like you say, he was dissected or was in the alien spaceship on issue 0. He's always in the background. He's always getting killed, but I don't think he ever really talks or has ever said anything. A lot of times he's just barely a scribble, but you can make it out by the glasses and mustache.
Right.
So yeah. The next kind of major Easter egg is Guy and Duder, which is a cartoon series, I guess, in the Savage Dragon universe, kind of like an Itchy and Scratchy or a Beavis and Butthead type series. You always catch him on TV in the backgrounds of Savage Dragon. Not really in every episode at all, or every issue at all, but they're on quite a few issues, and they've shown up as issue 23. There's a comic strip on a bulletin board in the police station with Guy and Duder. Issue 28, they're on TV. I think they're murdering Charlie Brown in one of the TV shots. Issue 34, Frank Jr.'s dolls are Guy and Duder. 39, I think they're on TV again. And there's a ton more. I didn't go through them all, but they're also on the Savage Dragon Wiki. You can see the entry for Guy and Duder. There's at least, I want to say, 20 different issues that they're in.
Just like John Day, like you described, often the Guy and Duder, they're little more than just a tiny scribble on the page. They look like Terrence and Phillip from South Park.
Yeah, so exactly.
They're really simple in appearance, but the minute you see them, and they're, like Craig said, they're tucked away. They're recurring enough that they're, significant.
Right. This one's a little rarer, and I don't really even know how many issues this appears in, but there's a toilet paper ad that's on newspapers sprinkled throughout Savage Dragon, and at least in one place, the ad says when you really got to poop, and it's got like 2 rolls of toilet paper. I know the ad shows it pretty clearly in issue 29 on newspaper, and then issue 182 recently, Adam pointed out it was on the back of another newspaper, and you just kind of saw the two rolls stacked the same way with a scribble. It didn't really say when you really got to poop, but I know that there's been a few issues where that's appeared. And that's kind of just funny how Erik thinks, oh, I'm just going to put this, draw this little thing in. But the funny thing is, I spent like a chunk of time looking for the appearance of that ad. And it's amazing in Savage Dragon how many panels there are of like newspaper flying around in the street. Like, there's just a lot of newspaper trash in Chicago, like in any city, And it's funny when you think about it, like, 50 years from now, when people read Savage Dragon and there's no such thing as newspapers anymore, everything's on iPads or whatever, are people going to understand why there's all this like flying newspaper all around? But I'm serious. Look through issues of Savage Dragon. There's a lot of scenes, a lot of battles out in the street, and tons of newspaper flying around everywhere. It's pretty cool, actually. I like it. But,
it's a good random. It's like the city equivalent of a tumbleweed.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's a good street trash.
Yep. Yeah. It's pretty cool. But yeah, look for the toilet paper ad called "When You Really Gotta Poop." And then a couple of little things. This kind of one is unofficial characters, which are strewn throughout the book, and I'll go through this in detail. I was gonna whip through all the issues really fast. Promise I won't take a lot of time. But the one thing is Superman references. You really can't call them unofficial in a way, because you had the Superman Savage Dragon crossover, and to this day there's still references to Superman and their interaction because of that. And I think right after that crossover happened between DC and Image, and I don't remember if it was in the Image book or the DC book, Superman gives Angel his cape, and then she's running around with his cape in the pages of Savage Dragon. And then in this new issue that we're going to talk about for this episode, issue 185, there's still references to Superman directly. So we'll talk about that more when we talk about 185. And then for unofficial characters, there's no other book that's had more unofficial characters than Savage Dragon. And I'm going to go through them real quick, and I'll talk about some of the ones that I think are kind of funny, and I'll just breeze through the ones that are just kind of background, real quick cameos. But issue 3 has got Homer and Ned Flanders, which is hilarious. I think it shows like Homer talking to Ned Flanders, or Ned Flanders saying to Homer, "Simpson, I see your doodle." And then it's just like Homer saying, "Shut up, Flanders." It's just like weird. But
whether they were like humanoid, this wasn't like on a TV or something. This is just
no, they were on TV.
Okay.
And the funny thing about that is, you think about it, it was in issue 3 of Savage Dragon, so that was like 20 years ago, and the Simpsons are still on TV too, so that's cool. So all right, breezing through them. Issue 4, unofficial appearance of the Thing. 21, Jimmy Olsen. 24, Thing and Wolverine. Issue 25, Batman. Issue 26, Spider-Man and the Thing. Issue 39.
That Batman appearance was pretty blatant, right? You saw his entire backside, because he's like at a bar, right?
I think so. I don't remember all of them.
I remember that. I thought that Batman appearance happened during Gang War. And
yeah,
he was hanging out at one of the freak bars for some reason.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
39. You
Oh,
know what happened? If I remember correctly, that was after
What's that?
Chicago Bull got killed, and they were feeding him to Batman.
Oh, right. And I do remember that now. That's awesome. You just see like Chicago Bull's head like
On a
mounted
wall.
on the wall.
And Batman's like commenting on the burgers being good or something.
Yeah. That's a good one. I can't believe I missed that, talking about that one. That is a really good one. So going along, 39's got Susan Storm. 41 is a huge one and is way too many guys to count, but
That's the wedding issue, right?
Barbaric and Ricochet's wedding. You got a lot of like the characters that Larsen worked on back in the day: DNA agents, Megaton, Big Bang guys, Femforce. Then you got Vampirella, Flaming Carrot, E-Man, Wildcats, Angel and the Ape. Tons of unofficial Marvel and DC characters, Ninja Turtles. Pretty much every indie character. I think Angel and the Ape, but I guess I said that already. Hellboy. I don't know. It's just too many to go over here. But that
It's
issue.
awesome.
I don't think those ones were unofficial though, because they're all pretty visible.
Yeah, the indie guys I think aren't unofficial. I think they're all, Eric's friends with all those guys anyway. I think, you start to see the Marvel and DC guys way in the background, or just like pieces of arms or something like that. But
Well, I remember distinctly, like, the Batman and Robin. It was like the top of Batman's head and like the top of Robin. And
yeah, so you
people
couldn't see Batman's ears, but you could just see like his nose piece and his eyes.
Yeah, it was a clever cropping because like you knew who you were looking at, but because of the cropping, it really could have been anyone too.
Yeah, right. And then
Eric's actually really good at the cropping thing, where he wants to suggest what you're looking at, you know exactly what you're looking at, but at the same time, it really could be anyone. Wink, wink.
Right.
Nudge, nudge.
And then like he had like squiggles in the background. If you like squinted your eyes, you could see like the Sinister Six and like, I don't know, Wizard of Oz guys or something.
I didn't know that actually.
Yeah. Issue 51, Clark Kent. 53, Batman again. 54, Thor. I think Thor shows up a lot when the Gods shows up, just as kind of like a wink wink in the background. And I'm talking about Marvel's version of Thor, not Eric's version. 59's Aquaman, Nova, Spider-Man Thing, and Wolverine. 60's Captain Marvel, Spider-Man Thing, and Thor. 61's a great one. It's Beavis and Butthead, and they're in the new Nazi party with brainy apes controlling all these like Nazi youth kids or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and Beavis and Butthead are actually pretty well drawn. Like, it's definitely clear it's them. There's nothing to do with cropping or anything. It's blatant. And it's kind of funny. 65 is a good one. It's what's the name of the guy that controlled everyone with their mind, like the professor?
I know what you mean. Did he get his decapitated?
Yeah.
Okay. Is Solomon Kane?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I mean, the same guy from, like, Eric's old comics. But he's controlling all these heroes to fight Dragon, and there's totally a clear shot of Captain America and Super Patriot punching out Dragon. And, I mean, there's no cropping at all. I mean, it's definitely... You see the back of Captain America, but it's definitely Captain America. And then there's another shot with all these hands punching Dragon, and it's Spider-Man's hand and Thing and Thor and Superman, I think Doctor Doom.
What issue is this?
Issue 65.
Okay. My bad, he is Simon Kane.
Simon Kane, yeah, you're right.
The guy, the mind control guy, right.
Yeah. So that's a real fun episode, a real fun issue.
Yeah, actually, I have that one. It's like one of the random issues I have in that period I have floating around.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That was when Dragon was in what's his name's body? Rita's boyfriend.
Rita's boyfriend.
Star, the guy.
Beard.
John, what's his name? Johnson.
Yeah. How are we all blanking on his name?
I don't know. I'm embarrassed. I know someone's gonna write on the boards. I can't believe you forgot his name.
And that's how they'll sound. Can't believe. William Johnson.
Yes.
Yeah, that was back when She-Dragon had the title credit.
Savage Dragon Wiki, God bless you.
You're not supposed to say that out loud. You just knew that.
Well, I meant that's what I call my brain.
Moving on, 87. Dragon hitches a ride with the fabulous furry Freak Brothers. That's a cool episode.
Isn't that Little Orphan Annie in that one too, kind of?
Yeah.
Yeah, all grown up.
Very much a Little Orphan Annie.
Issue 76, Commandy, which is really cool. A little blonde kid in blue shorts. Definitely, know it's Commandy. Issue 82 I really like. it's Johnny Storm versus Peter Parker, and Johnny Storm is drawn very Jack Kirby-ish, and it's basically two teenagers fighting. It's when Savage Dragon was in Australia during the whole Savage World issue, and he breaks up these two kids beating the crap out of each other, and it's so obvious that it's Johnny Storm. He's dressed in all blue kind of, and Peter Parker's got a red plaid shirt on. It looks like almost like webbing. And they're beating the crap out of each other, and Dragon stops it, and they're just like, "Hey, what the hell are you doing, man?" And come to find out they were training for the gladiator games, so it was kind of funny.
Jerks.
85's got Hulk and Thing, 88's got Thor, 97's got Thor. Again, I think those were like God issues. 104's got Batman and Superman. 106 has Spider-Man, Commandy, and Wolverine. Some of these things, they're just like real small background things, but it's just funny that Erik takes the time to draw them in. 109 is a favorite of mine. This is Ben Blank. I don't know if you guys remember that character. He turns into the Lummox, the big purple guy. And basically, Erik, I think, was going for Ben Blank actually being Reed Richards, because if you read any of the old Fantastic Four from the late 70s, Fantastic Four 182 has a Counter-Earth Reed Richards, which I don't know if he was screwed with the High Evolutionary or whatever, but the gamma rays or whatever turns him into the Brute, which is like a purple monster, and he became evil, so he's kind of like the evil Reed Richards. And on issue 109 of Savage Dragon, they find this Ben Blank in Dimension X, which kind of like the Negative Zone in the Marvel universe. So it's implied that it's Reed Richards. Counter-Earth Reed Richards is actually.
And he looks just like him. He's
the
got
Lummox. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's got the gray temples and the Reed Richards looking face.
Yeah, the only difference I think he's got like a little ponytail on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when he turns into the Lummox, it looks exactly like the Brute from Marvel Comics. And if you guys listening didn't read this comic or weren't reading at the time, go online and compare the cover. Do a Google image search for Fantastic Four 182, and then go on like the Savage Dragon wiki, or just do a Google of Savage Dragon 109. So Fantastic Four 182, compare that to Savage Dragon 109, and it's pretty much an homage to the.
Oh yeah, you know what? If you Google image search it, they're side by side already for you. Oh,
there you go. So that was cool. That's one of the coolest Easter eggs in this whole series, I think, because it's like implying that that's Reed Richards, because Ben Blank, who's supposed to be Reed Richards, has got amnesia. He doesn't really know who he is. So, wink, wink. Pulled a fast one on you, Marvel.
That's a cool, I guess I'd never known that, and I'm looking at them. Like I said, it's the second. If you Google image search Fantastic Four 182, it is literally the second image. It's
cool. Somebody's
made it a combo of them together.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. That's a great Easter egg.
Yeah. So moving along, 122's got Billy Batson in it. 124 is another fun one. It's Peter Parker and Aunt May, and it's kind of just like a gag panel where it's just like off to the side. It doesn't really have much to do with the story at all, I don't think. It's like a little circular panel, and it shows kind of Aunt May talking to Peter Parker, and she's like, "You're not going anywhere unless you finish those wheat cakes." And then it just has like Peter with the little thought bubbles like, "I hate wheat cakes. I wish that old hag would die already." And it's just like, it's a funny little gag. It's just like, what the heck?
124 is also interesting because it has a backup feature. It's called The Reckoning, and it's a flashback to just after Cyberface was defeated, and Dragon with the other Liberty League members, they go down into a dungeon, and they find Joey Finkelberry having murdered all of these Marvel and DC superheroes.
I remember that now.
Like Superman and Wonder Woman, and they're all like conveniently cropped, but it's one of those cases where you can totally tell who it is. But they basically all have just been killed by Joey Finkelberry, who's like the strongest in Marvel. In Savage Dragon, Joey Finkelberry is supposed to be the most physically strongest character that's been introduced. So basically, he's been ripping them apart with his bare hands.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I always thought that was an interesting little thing, and I actually kind of wonder if those deaths are canon to Savage Dragon, because it would have been after the Savage Dragon Superman team-ups. So is Superman dead? I don't know.
No, he's not, and you'll find out when we review this new episode, the new issue.
Okay.
Dun dun dun.
More to come.
So going down this list, 127, Superman makes a cameo. Well, there you go.
He's alive.
Issue 138 is a fun one because
all cameos are canon. Is that what we're going with?
I don't know. Who knows?
You know what I'm going with?
I'm gonna say no.
Soup's fought his way back from the dead once. He probably could do it again.
Yeah, he somehow flew back in time around the Earth backwards. Issue 138, Andy Cap appears, which is funny because that's like the Jack Staff issue. So.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, you're right. I remember seeing that because I love Jack Staff, so I love that issue. That's a world tour, and so Andy Cap's like in the background, right, of this.
Yeah.
Jack and Dragon in England.
And it's kind of a weird one. I was like, Andy Cap, what?
Because he's a Brit. he's a Brit.
I didn't know that.
So that's funny.
Yep. It's a riot. 139, Nova and Thing. 141, Billy Batson, Jimmy Olsen, and Plastic Man. 144 is a good one. That's the issue where every panel represents a day. And, Dragon's got a bad rap. Everyone's yelling, calling him a murderer and stuff like that. And it shows, like, Bruce Wayne and his parents leaving the theater. And just, I think they yell, like, murderer or something to Dragon. He just kind of, like, shows him, like, rolling his eyes or something. I don't know. But it's, you just imagine they're just about to get shot or something.
They were jerks. That's what you're supposed to gather. They were jerks.
Yeah. Billy Batson's in 152. 158 is a scene. It's a pretty blatant scene. It's not just a cameo. It's a whole page of like Lex Luthor and Norman Osborn at like a sidewalk cafe talking. And Gwen Stacy's like the waitress, and I can't remember what's said between them at this point, but I think they're
talking about like keeping their hands out of some situation. That
it's
page
because Overlord is back.
Oh yeah, they don't want to like mess with what's going on with Overlord in the Vicious Circle.
There's some joke I'm not remembering.
The joke is that they're making a joke on who is the secret identity of the Overlord. And he's like, rise to power, that sounds like something you do, mocking sort of the President Lex storyline.
Oh, okay.
And so they're kind of both making jokes on the fact that Lex Luthor and Norman Osborn both, because at that point Norman Osborn was in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the Marvel year.
Yeah, super patriot kind of.
So basically,
thing, right?
They were sort of mocking, villains rising to power and gaining control, and they were sort of drawing parallels there. It's weird that I knew that.
That page is so just weird. It's just weird because it is so blatant who they are, and they spend this entire page just chatting with each other.
It's fun though. It's cool that he can do it.
It is cool, but it's just a very strange page.
Yeah, there's no names given, but you know exactly who it is because it's bald Lex Luthor. It's Norman Osborn. No one else has hair like Norman Osborn.
No one understands that hair. I to this day I don't know what was going on.
Well, I just read about that. Apparently, it was Steve Ditko's way of drawing a specific hairstyle, and then nobody else could figure out how to replicate it properly. So it became red cornrows for some reason.
So you just read about that?
Oh yeah, someone
wrote an article about that. That's awesome.
Just some guy at a forum was talking about it. And they posted a picture about it. I'll forward it to you guys. It's kind of interesting if I can find it.
It's funny what comic geeks talk about.
You could go to the barber. Here's how distinct that is. You could go to the barber and be like, "Give me an Osborn," and they'd know what to do. You start cornrowing your hair.
I would not dare do that.
Come out looking like Lil Wayne.
Exactly. Lil Wayne, terrible. Norman Osborn and Lil Wayne. It's obviously them, like you said. There's no mistake in it. It's a funny cameo.
And just to wrap it up, 169 and 183 both have Billy Batson. So he shows up a lot. I think he's like a reporter or something like that. kid reporter. I don't know.
Yeah, he was a kid reporter in his own book, and of course that's be what he does in Savage Dragon books.
Right. So that wraps up all the unofficial character appearances that I could think of. If I missed something, scream at me, let me know. Write us, SavageFINcast@gmail.com. If there's something that you thought was hilarious that I totally missed, let me know. If there's an Easter egg I totally skipped on, let me know. Join in, yell at us, have fun. So, shall we move on to the Savage Dragon 185 discussion?
Let's.
Awesome. I thought this was a great issue.
Total knocked it out of the ballpark. This book is just really kicking butt lately.
Yeah. It's setting a lot of things up. I did not see the ending coming, honestly. I thought there was a chance, but...
I saw it coming.
Did you?
I think I mentioned that last time that he was going to jail.
Spoiler
alert.
One stinking jerk.
So this is the one. This is the one with a really interesting cover with a really sketchy design, like the courtroom sketch artist would do.
It's not my favorite cover, but I thought it was a neat idea.
Yeah,
it's a great gimmick.
Kind of wish the background was a little less minimalist, but I think it really does sort of work.
If you ever, I think what they're going for is, don't a lot of those court reporters sort of work on, they work on the brown paper and then they'll do line work and the white highlights?
Yeah, I think
so.
Yeah, I think that's true.
I think that's what it's going for.
Sure. Yeah, I
to
totally
me,
get it.
Successful. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not my favorite cover, but it definitely understand what he's doing with it, and it enhances the story. I thought the whole issue, the grid panel, the panel layout with the perfectly 3x3 small squares and one large rectangle on each page was pretty damn cool. And
yeah, that's throughout the entire issue. It's like every page has like a splash page. Or wait, that came out wrong. It's like every page has I guess it would be kind of a splash page.
Every page is almost, like I said, a 3x3 grid with a third of the page, one large panel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for there's one double page splash, and I think there's one page with 4x3 grid.
But if you've never really read Dragon, it's like a thing sometimes he'll do is he'll lay out, he'll have a layout challenge where he'll sort of force himself to play by a certain set of rules for an issue. So that seemed like what he was going for here, and I think it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I really enjoyed all the small panels because he could have really, on a lot of these, made 3 panels with text bubbles everywhere. Mm-hmm. But instead, it's you're watching the camera pan back, and you're having a conversation with 2 guys, and there's different angles of Erik's looking at their faces going back and forth. Maybe some less skilled artists or lazier artists could have done the same thing with 3 or 4 panels, but text all over the place.
What's really cool about this issue is, in a lot of respects, is a lot like the Every Panel is a Day issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Only in this case, every page is a moment in a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about it that way.
I didn't either.
Because I believe months are passing throughout this issue. I don't remember specifically, but it a lot of times a lot of events occur across this issue.
Yeah, there's no every page is one scene. There's not any scene that lasts longer than really a page.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is pretty damn cool. I didn't realize that till you just said that. But yeah, it's like a scene a page. It's a neat way to get through a lot of dialogue, which this story is dialogue heavy, and it deserves to be dialogue heavy. It's his trial, and there's little things going on in the with supporting cast in the background, but it's a pretty damn cool issue.
I definitely, yeah. I mean, given the fact that it is a court case, I mean, it was the kind of the perfect move to make that play. So when he does finally break away from that format, it really adds that extra punch because you're not expecting it at that point. So it's awesome. It's really good storytelling.
Yeah. I like a lot of the progression that's going on with the supporting cast and Dragon in this issue. You have like, Flash Mercury kind of waking up, and Powerhouse is there. He's got his mask, but he's not giving it to Flash. He's like, I'm gonna hold on to this, and you're gonna help me out, And it sounds like they want to try to mold the Vicious Circle more into, Flash's idea when he was Overlord, and I think Powerhouse shares that same kind of idea of what they want the Vicious Circle to be. So,
right.
It's
No, it's cool that it's cool that these two characters are finally really putting their heads together, because ever since the new Overlord, became a plot thread, I wanted to see more interaction with Powerhouse, because Powerhouse, historically has expressed a lot of the same opinions that the new Overlord did. So now that Flash Mercury's out in the open and these two are hanging out together, it feels like a natural fit. Yeah. And more Powerhouse is always welcome.
Powerhouse is an awesome character because he could definitely be a good guy. I mean, he doesn't really do anything bad besides associate himself with the Vicious Circle. You never see him doing criminal acts.
I mean, he was treated as a hero a couple times. If I remember correctly, he was actually a member of SOS in the old Image universe before Universo ate it.
Was that right? I don't know.
Yeah, I believe so. He was in there was a big scene when Malcolm and Angel were about ready to leave the universe, and
okay, so
there's a scene with all the SOS members, and I believe Powerhouse and Fever here.
Oh yeah, you might be right.
At that time.
So it was something that happened after Dragon moved on to Savage World.
So you're right. Powerhouse has the capacity to play that hero role. If anyone would give him any respect.
Yeah, and I think that's his problem. Yeah.
Chicken head is a liability, apparently.
It's a chicken head.
And I think, Flash Mercury's kind of an idiot. I don't think he really could control the Overlord power. He had no right being like a leader of the Vicious Circle. I mean, he's just one of those guys. He kind of means well, but he's just does things all the wrong way. So it makes sense to kind of have Powerhouse kind of pulling the strings, and it'll be interesting to see what comes of it.
I also like seeing Fever here because for some reason I've always found her as a fascinating character design, and the fact that she and Powerhouse are in a relationship that's kind of been, teased over the years. They always seem to kind of turn up together.
Well, they're both God offspring, right?
I mean, they were both in Godtown in the Savage world, and I think she was a stripper for a while there, but
for the Freak Outpost, right?
Yeah, the Freak Outpost. So there's a story there, and I just think that their relationship's kind of neat. Yeah. So I hope we see more of that in the future.
Fever being the Medusa head character for those who don't maybe just know her by name.
That's true. And I guess I'm wondering because you see certain characters age, like Dung and Octopus and all these other characters. She doesn't seem to really age, but I wonder if that's anything to do with her being like a God offspring.
That Powerhouse doesn't seem to age either. But then again.
How can you really tell? Yeah.
I would say that's probably pretty solid. I mean, Hercules never really seemed to show any signs of anything. Neither has Thor. So, I would say so. That's pretty sound logic.
Yep.
I approve of your logic.
Thank you.
Speaking of relationships, we also get to see Malcolm and
Maxine
we see them gelling together as a couple.
Yeah, Eric's really good at writing kind of teenager dialogue. I think they're just talking about stupid crap like Garfield and stuff. And
it's funny because until now that's never really been something that he could do, and now he's really cutting loose with that sort of thing. It's just these little moments, teenagers being teenagers. It's kind of sad that ultimately it's going to be fleeting, and these guys will be growing up in the next few years and
right
having adult adventures.
That's why you got to value this time while you got it. That's what the real-time format's seriously, that's why the real-time format's so awesome. No Archie for Malcolm. He's going to grow up, makes the stuff that's happening here matter more.
if I like on this page for the readers, it's the page with Maxine and Dragon kind of talking, and they're just chilling in the grass. I like how they're going back and forth in the panels, and like Erik just draws a panel with them in the background with like some dude running by. It's just kind of funny. It's just cool that he does that, It's just like mixes it up. It's not all just headshots.
It's an awesome interaction. I think it's funny that Maxine seems to be the only person who wears that sailor outfit, Sailor Scout.
Yeah,
with the socks, complete with the socks, are a very overseas thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hilarious.
Don't forget, she is Asian.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she's an exchange student. It's like hot dog on a stick.
Hot dog on a stick. We see Angel beating up another baddie. And this page kind of cracked me up as a whole because she just runs into Super Patriot, but she knocks this like bad guy. It looks like a mile and a half.
You're right.
In that first square, and then on the last square, he's only like 10 feet away.
Yeah,
or maybe 30 feet.
Maybe he shrunk to the size of a pea. Maybe that's one of Angel's untold powers.
I did want to say, I'm sorry, I didn't realize we jumped into the issue, that I think it's the bomb whenever there's these weird photo backgrounds on the first page. You get that?
Oh, yeah, the courthouse.
Yeah, the courthouse is a photo background, and like normally I hate it, but I don't know. There's something about it that's kind of cool here. I guess it's because he's always done it. It's not a weird, out of place thing.
Yeah. I mean, I've noticed, just to divulge into other comics, that taking photo backgrounds and then kind of turning them into drawing backgrounds through some sort of Photoshop filter has become a thing in certain comics in the recent times, and it's very distracting sometimes. It just does not look very good. But the Erik sometimes does it, and like you said, when it happens, it's generally brief, to set the stage, and it's it works.
It's in this issue more than once. I'll point it out when we get to it again. I just wanted to bring that up real quick. I thought the sign that says "Keep Off the Grass" is funny. I don't know who that jerk is.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, actually, we didn't really talk about this panel, but this is an interesting panel because it's just a bunch of signs.
You're talking about the first page.
Yeah, the very first page. Some of the signs say "free 'em," other signs say "fry 'em." So it's kind of funny to have both sides sort of mingling together, so you sort of instantly get this sensation that, both sides, tensions are high.
The people are divided.
Yeah.
Sorry to drag us back a page, but those are just two things I wanted to definitely remark on before we moved on.
That's cool. So do you guys think that Angel is going to join this SOS Special Operations Strike Force team that Super Patriot's asking her to, or you think she's going to decline?
I don't know. Honestly, I'm not sure what's going to happen with her at this point. I mean, I think it'd be honestly, I think something else is going to happen. She's going to make some other choice.
Yeah.
Because I think just joining SOS would be too simple, too easy.
Yeah. Well, we know she's got to kind of get away because she's this whole thing with Frank Jr.
Yeah. I think that's really going to be the thing. I mean, going to SOS would just be she's still stuck in this superhero rut. So
right.
I think she's going to go someplace else to get away from, everything familiar. I don't know.
That's what she said up to this point, right? That she's going on the walkabout?
Right.
Yeah.
Of course, her plan was to go with Frank, so she may still do it herself. I mean, that'd probably be an interesting move.
Did you guys notice in the courtroom scene that the judge coffin is the same panel from issue 155?
That is an Easter egg, wouldn't you say? That's sort of a recurring gag.
What is? You mean the panel with his face? Well,
the minute I saw Judge Coffin's little face there, I was like, I've seen that before. So it's funny that it's a visual. He's always got his little fingers, and even when it's far away shots, if you notice, you'll see his little fingers up in front of his face like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of a recurring gag.
Yeah, and the other recurring gag kind of like that, it's like that we'll see him later on in this issue is Harry Paratestes, who's got the same face. He's like the late night talk show guy.
Right.
He's always ripping on Savage Dragon, but it's always the same exact face, cut and pasted.
I think Judge Coffin is somewhat like that, like where he's always got the exact same expression.
I guess. I think we've only seen him one other panel, though, honestly.
I think I'm a little hung up on the fact that Dragon's attorney has a head that looks like a penis.
You have a dirty mind.
Yeah.
I can't be a part of this podcast anymore.
And that was the day Craig left.
So Angel's, we get more about Angel and her disappointment in Frank, because Malcolm thinks that they can patch it up, but Angel's pretty certain that because Tiara's pregnant, that it's over.
He calls her on her bullshit, you know?
She does. He does, yes. Oh, then we get some really interesting litigation going on.
The dialogue on this is awesome.
Yeah, this prosecuting attorney, he seems to really know what he's doing going after Dragon's history. So it's interesting because what this is, it does two things. For one, it's you got this guy. He's basically telling the courtroom why Dragon's a bad guy and he's a danger to society. Blah blah blah. But what it actually is an info dump for new readers.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot of respects, is that all this stuff happened. We all witnessed it reading this book. In this context, it makes Dragon look bad, which is funny, if you've been following along, because in our mind, a lot of these things, they turn out for the good. They're heroic. I mean, they're bad, but ultimately Dragon rises above it. But here's this guy throwing it all back at him in a negative light. So it's kind of fascinating to see the other side of, the things Dragon's done over the years.
It was awesome. I love that this guy tears him a new one using these things, like you said, the established plot points, that we're familiar with. It's so funny because I didn't expect this to be a good lawyer story. But it's really good. The prosecution is so awesome in this comic.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, if you were a human in the Savage Dragon universe, I wouldn't feel so safe with Savage Dragon around. This is a guy who got knocked around a bit and came back as Kerr, who's his original incarnation.
And really, that's the second time he went on a rampage. He got possessed that one time, too.
Yeah. And just not only that, even when he's not possessed, he's battling guys in the street and buildings are tumbling over. And, I mean, maybe without him it'd be even more damage, but Savage Dragon creates a lot of damage. And he's got to be if I'm sitting down in a restaurant eating dinner and Savage Dragon's at the table next to me, I think I'm leaving that restaurant because I don't want some freak to come flying through the window attacking Savage Dragon. He's got to come off as kind of a dangerous guy to be around. All his girlfriends have died or wife.
Yeah, pretty much all of them.
Yeah, exactly.
The only way to survive around him is to have some kind of superpower. So
even then, it doesn't save you.
Yeah.
Didn't save Jennifer.
I do want to point out that John Day is one of the jurors here.
Oh yeah, awesome. Not even, like you said, not even hidden. In panel 1 he's a scribble, and the last panel, next to last panel, he's front and center.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was cool. I liked, I would imagine this is exactly how a lawyer would go after Dragon, and if this was the real world or whatever.
And like you said, it's funny because it's really not that hard a case to make.
Yeah.
We get some Frank and
Tiara
yeah.
Interaction.
I'm not liking Tiara. She gets more unappealing every issue.
Yeah, well, she's in a bad situation. It's not her fault.
She's clingy. She's a clingy jerk.
I don't think so. I think Frank is really being the one who's being a jerk here. He's the one kind of trying to avoid responsibility because he doesn't want to get hung up on a mistake he made. Granted, this relationship probably isn't going to survive, but it's tough for both of them, really.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that he actually doesn't love her.
Yeah, you can see in the sixth panel, he is really frustrated with this situation because he wants to be responsible, but he doesn't want to have his life, end at how old is he? 17?
Yeah.
Yeah, he a baby daddy.
Yeah. So, you feel for Frank and you feel for Tiara. we'll see where that goes if we see it. It's tough.
So we get a few more panels. I don't know if we want to linger too much on this, but it's more of the lawyer kind of.
But we get a really sweet half-page shot of Universo. He's always cool to see.
Yeah.
Well, what we're seeing is basically probably nothing. It's probably a mind's eye thing where we got Rex Dexter describing a situation with Universo, and this is kind of what he's describing is basically Dragon punching out this world-devouring god, for character witness purposes.
It's an awesome way the prosecution twists it, though, because it's just quick. It's wrapped up, like you said, a single scene. This is just so much to be done in 6 panels. The giant panel has no words, but basically it starts and he's like, well, he saved the world twice. Universo would have ate the world. Prosecution's like, well, yeah, but couldn't you say that he was trying to make this place...
save the world for who?
Yeah, exactly. Like, wasn't he trying to get this place ready for his own people? And he's like, and he's like, just like, no questions. And it's like, man, that's awesome. Because really, I hadn't thought of it that way.
Yeah.
I hate Savage Dragon now. I'm convinced.
And then at the next page, they kind of throw Mr. Glum in his face, which, for all those years, Mr. Glum lived with Savage Dragon and then eventually enslaved the world. So they throw that, that cross-examining Super Patriot.
So not even Super Patriot can sway the jury. You're in trouble.
Yeah. I love the next page where it's like all the reporters and news clips on. You can tell it's on a TV with those little like faded lines. Yeah. And then you see the bottom panel and it's like the freak outpost. They're watching it on TV and it's like
all the ink splatter.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I know, and Mako's just like, and they say there's nothing good on TV.
See, this is what I was talking about. Mako is here free in a bar, so we'll see how he ends up in prison orange.
And he looks awesome in that in that panel.
Yeah, actually, I had thought that myself when I saw it, is that it was a really good shot of him, and I forget what's his name with the bolts in the head, but he's always cool.
Roughneck.
Roughneck, yeah.
I love how Erik does those little like scrape lines and everything. It just makes it look like a smoky, hazy freak outpost bar. He always gives it that like real smoky look.
Definitely props to Nikos on this page for the TV effects, but also
the glow.
Like you said, like even the little like details, like the fact that there's the highlight on Roughneck's red spots that kind of make it look like it's raised off of him.
Yeah.
There's really a lot of like tender love and care on this page for like the coloring. It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So that's a great page. And this next page, this is one thing I don't really get, and it's probably me kind of thinking too hard about it. We get a scene with Malcolm kind of beating up a bad guy and then tossing him in the paddy wagon for the cops. And it's like, how would that ever stand up? I mean, Malcolm's not a cop. So,
right.
How would, how can he help the police? I mean, first of all, you can't just be a vigilante and.
Yeah, that's always generally been frowned upon in Savage Dragon. That's the whole reason Dragon was a cop to begin with, is because vigilantism was not, well liked by the police department.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's possible maybe this page is to illustrate, because the interaction is that they're like totally cooperating with him. They're like, you stopped him. And then he throws him in the clink, and they're like, your dad was the best cop this city's ever seen. And you're right, Malcolm's totally being a vigilante here. But like, in a way, I guess it's showing, A, the cops are on, Dragon's side, and B, because of what Dragon has done, things are different for his son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
I guess, being a cop, you're not going to be able to do anything against this like super powered freak, so you probably will look the other way if someone's willing to help you and knock this guy out for you.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't have a good lawyer.
I like that he's flipping the guy kind of like you'd flip a coin.
Yeah, I was just looking at that panel. That panel is just kind of weird looking.
Exactly.
The way Malcolm looks, and like he's suddenly got skinny arms again. It looks like he's like popping a thumbs up for some reason.
He approves.
It's just
It's like he's missing a shoulder or something.
Shorthand, just.
Yeah.
I love it though, and I love that cop's like Muppet-like face.
Yeah. It's a good. He looks like Beaker with a mustache or something.
Then we get to see two people we haven't seen in a long time. Chris Robinson and Alex Wilde.
I thought you were gonna say Harry Paratestes and Jerry Rivers.
Wait, where's Harry Paratestes?
He's a Geraldo type, right?
No, Harry Paratestes is a guy with the white hair. He looks kind of like Dave Letterman with the gap. If you look in every single issue he's been in, that's the same face. It's just a cut and paste face. There's one issue where he's in like 20 panels, and it's just the same face.
Oh,
Never changes.
Jerry Rivers is the guy with the mustache, right?
Jerry Rivers is the Geraldo-looking guy with the mustache, and then like he was in like the real early issues of Savage Dragon. He had like brown hair, like full head of hair, I think. And now he's just like an old dude.
It's funny because I guess like Harry Paratestes has always looked that way with the white hair.
Yeah.
And yet, like you said,
and he totally hates Savage Dragon, just rips on Savage Dragon like harshly in every scene he's in.
Never stops smiling.
That makes it worse.
Yeah.
Alex looks a little rough, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of curious about if this scene means anything. If it's ever going to, if this is just a one-off, here's where they are, so shut up about it. Telling me, see, he's not Overlord, shut up, Jim.
Here's where they are, so shut up about it.
But then again, there's that the sixth panel, you kind of see the TV, and it's like surrounded by like photographs. So I don't know if that actually is supposed to mean something, or if it's just a background detail. Doesn't mean anything.
That sixth panel is not anything to do with that last panel.
Nah.
Oh, you're right. Oh, that's a bar.
I think it's just like a sports bar.
Oh, you're right. Shoot, you're right. Yep, never mind. Irrelevant.
Because I don't think Alex would be saying guilty, guilty, guilty.
You're right. Whoops.
Her hair.
So yeah, it's.
And then there's like a third guy in their bed somewhere.
Okay, I made a mistake.
and I think Eric went on record recently when we were talking about this issue online that said that when he made the decision to have Alex say, and I never saw him again, that it was not actually supposed to mean we'll never see her again.
It was just
something.
for that moment in time. Like
yeah,
it was like her talking at that present time. Like she doesn't know.
Right, because the whole real-time thing, it's not like her narration is like forever.
Yeah, but I took it as that actually when I read it. But
yeah, I kind of thought it was coming from like a future point of view, like way out. So I kind of read it that way myself, that it was So I'm glad that that's not the case, because who knows what'll happen now.
The one guy's sign says "Slay the Dragon." What a jerk.
And we get another scene of just like, I guess supposedly like Angel just got off the stand, and basically it's her just being like, she got screwed over. Her words got all twisted.
She got Rex Dextered.
Yeah.
This prosecutor knows what he's doing, apparently.
And then there's a pretty powerful scene with Captain Stewart. And he's like, he's getting cross-examined or whatever, and that last like question from the prosecution was like, would you want him being a Savage Dragon back on the police force? And it's just like, basically he's like silence, and then Captain Stewart's like, no. Bum, bum, bum.
Which is kind of like, that's the stance he's had all along. Dragon was like, hey, you want me to help? And he's like, nah, probably better you don't.
Right.
I mean, it's got to be tough, because he knows Dragon's a good guy, but he's just such a liability sometimes. He can't be that irresponsible. I think that's what we're supposed to take from it. It's not that he doesn't like Dragon, it's that you can't give him a pass anymore.
Just the thing is, in Dragon's book, is there are other people fighting crime without the whole like trouble around them. Like Super Patriot doesn't have these same problems.
Well, he was Overlord's lapdog for a while there.
Well, what are you, a prosecutor? Get out of here.
Well, the cool thing about Savage Dragon is that he's kind of like an everyday guy. He makes mistakes. He screws up, and that's what's cool about the book. He's not he doesn't always do the best thing, and there's consequences. But overall, I think if he's not around, you have the vicious circle pretty much running Chicago, and
Universo eats the world.
Yeah, but he does make his mistakes. He's not a perfect character by any means. The other cool scene in this the prosecution is kind of like when they're cross-examining Dragon or whatever, and the lawyer brings up how he executed the Tyranian Combine on Vanguard's homeworld, which I'm not sure how they would know that, but
see, yeah, that's that thing. How do they know that? I don't think they cross-examined Vanguard.
I'm assuming that if Dragon returned, that he had some splaining to do.
That might be true.
So, because, he's first he did all those terrible things, then he vanished. So it's kind of like he's probably like, oh, I destroyed the alien homeworld. And so,
Yeah, I just sort of see that as, if in a real-world situation, that wouldn't be admissible because, just there wouldn't be any way to verify it. But I guess we're just supposed to accept that maybe they sent Reed Richards out to investigate. Send out the Fantastic Four. Verify.
Well, basically, the lawyer, though, does kind of set it up pretty good because he's like, well, the whole point he's been making the case against him that he was Kerr making a place for his people. And then he tells him, he's like, well, your people have a home, right? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, so where'd that home come from? And like, basically, you killed a whole race for your own people. And he's like, no questions, So he's just making his case against him.
Yeah, so you didn't do it on Earth, but you did it on another planet.
Exactly.
Of course, I gotta wonder what his lawyer is doing, because
I know
we never really see his lawyer cross-examine anybody and ask, the bits that we know about. Like, yes, I killed an entire world for my people, but it was sort of infested by these same assholes who were murdering our world.
Yeah.
So it's okay to commit genocide sometimes.
I was disappointed we didn't get to see Smith, defense, but at the same time, we did get to see Prosecution tearing apart, witnesses left and right. So right. The most that he could do is try to build up Dragon's character, which,
Well, yeah, and as a reader, his character.
And that's
so
true.
You don't have to be convinced. So you can
right.
kind of guess that end, and it's 22 pages. It's just, I don't think it serves a purpose really to
I wanted to see it, I admit, but after
right.
I was done, I was like, I see why it got skipped, I guess.
But yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. He doesn't need to do the defense. We already know the defense. So really, it's, really smart storytelling to leave it out.
Yeah.
Economy of space and all that.
Right.
Does the defense have a name? Did they ever name this Peter Parker-looking type fella?
I don't think so.
No.
He's just a jerk.
I also got to wonder who's actually representing. Who's actually prosecuting Dragon here? Is it a federal case, or is it Chicago City? Or...
The city, probably.
It's the people versus. Can't you go, just a crime for... Can't you just go to court for crimes against humanity? That sort of thing? Like when they catch Jeffrey Dahmer or somebody?
Yeah, I honestly don't know.
It's a city. It's a city. He's destroying the city. There's...
Yeah, you're right. It's probably... Well, if it's a civil case... Well, it'd be a criminal case because murder's involved. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I just play one on TV.
Right.
We needed one. We needed one for this issue.
So, just quick on this next scene is just basically Angel telling Frank she wants him back, and he's like, well, I'm getting married, which kind of took me by surprise because I thought they were a little young to get married, but apparently not.
Yeah. Kids that young get married, especially if there's a pregnancy involved, they generally try to, get it done, get it over with.
Isn't the law parental consent or something? I'm just saying it's not an extremely bizarre thing.
Right. I think they're 18. Now that I think about it, Angel's 19, right?
I guess.
So, and they're in the same age group.
Right.
I don't know. But I think what this is more, this page is more about is expressing that time is passing, like significant, because she just convinced him to marry her like 6-7 pages ago, and now it's the wedding day. So I think we're supposed to take it as weeks and months have passed.
Oh, it wasn't like 2 hours later.
Right.
Well, I guess I gotta marry you. I'm gonna raise your baby.
So I really like the next page for what the lawyer says. This is kind of like the Easter egg I was referring to previously. The prosecutor says, this has been a circus. The defense has thrown up a lot of celebrities, all singing praises of Savage Dragon. He says, patriots, heroes, and men of steel, people we respect and admire. So it's kind of referencing that. You got to imagine when he says men of steel, that maybe Superman was up there, defending Dragon's character based on their interaction.
Brass balls to cross-examine Superman.
We saw this guy doesn't give. He gives no crap. He'll cut down anybody. Super Patriot is supposed to be this book's Captain America, so and he cared not.
Yeah, but he's a hippie.
Do your duty. That's a great way to end it. Shut him down, folks. Let's see this guy in the chair.
So then we get this double page splash, which is a direct reprint of a scene from Dragon War.
Well, you don't want to skip the wedding, do you?
Didn't we just talk about that, or did I just hallucinate that?
Well, he's got that other. Well, we talked about it, but
oh yeah,
we didn't
sorry.
look this page. I know, Raven, you were mentioning the other point in this book where you had that photo background.
I like it here.
Yeah, that was cool. The church background. So yeah, Frank and Tierra get married.
And you gotta like Maxine. Any page with Maxine. It's a good page to mention only because everybody's happy but Angel. It's like, well, they're getting married, and there's you and Maxine. I think I'll walk home alone in the snow. That's all.
So like I was saying, this double page splash is a bit of a treat because I don't think we've had a 22-page Dragon story in a while. Although this is a tiny bit of a cheat, but this was one of the better, cooler splash pages that ever ran, and it's actually what I usually reference when I'm turn the page, punch through the head. This is pretty much the gold standard of that.
I didn't like it placed here.
It did seem kind of oddly placed, but I kind of get what he was going for. This is
think of it as a new reader though. When you're reading through this, you flip to this panel and you're like, what the heck is happening right here?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just didn't like it. I think the Universal page, it works perfectly because you got that large panel and it's on the same page as like the prosecutor talking about Universal. So he's referencing, either it's a slideshow or he's just referencing the moment and it's just, a callback to you. On this, it's like a full double page splash and no reference to it at all. Like they're not talking about it on the next page or anything like that. I mean, I know it's supposed to it's
sort of supposed to represent this is the moment.
This is what the jurors this is what's stuck in their head or something.
Right. This is the image that the jurors see when they see this case is
Yeah.
Kerr putting his fist through an innocent's face.
Yeah. I mean, I think I understand it. I don't think it's executed the greatest.
I think the trouble with this particular image is that you got Dark Dragon here too, and it sort of confuses things.
I would say that's the real problem, is that the Dark Dragon, and I don't know, maybe we glossed over it, but he wasn't, I don't think, addressed in any of the previous pages.
Yeah, just blame Dark Dragon for all this. It's his fault. He's from an alternate universe. He's dead. Who cares?
As a new reader, I don't really think that you would see Dragon punching through a woman and Dragon being on the other side and maybe just think evil twin. So for new readers, it's definitely not, I think, successful. For me, as an established reader, I was like, well, yeah, it was a gut punch moment. I was not expecting it, so I was very pleased for it. But yeah, I totally see what you're saying.
Yeah, as an established reader, you know where that scene came from.
But the context.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, I don't know. I always feel like you got to almost treat every issue as like someone's going to be a new reader. I don't know. I just, it's easy for me to say that, not being a comic book creator, but I just felt like this particular scene kind of just felt out of place.
I'll buy that.
Yeah, I'll agree with you.
I think it
maybe if it was like reframed as like a photograph on a
yeah, exactly,
on a bulletin board or
yeah,
something.
Yeah, like a slideshow with like someone pointing to it, or like the lawyer being like, "This is the Savage Dragon, or something,
Yeah.
some kind of bubble or something referencing." So it just because you turn the page and you're like, "What the hell's going on? Savage Dragon's punching through some chick now," and then it's like, "Oh, all right." Well, I mean, I know what it was, but
he broke out of court.
Right.
Found his doppelganger.
Punched through a woman. It's all kinds of crazy shit happened between the pages.
So yeah, I mean, after that page.
Also, just real quick. It's really kind of it's interesting to me to have this page. Of course, is a reprint from about 25 issues ago.
Right.
The line work is just kind of different from what's currently going on in the book. I don't know how to describe it because I'm not an artist. I don't have the words, but it's just it looks different. Oh, it's colored differently. If I remember correctly, this was colored by Olive.
Oh, really?
Not Nekos.
Are you sure?
So I'm almost certain.
Oh yeah, maybe he had a little.
Because he did a lot. He did the coloring mostly through Dragon War period.
All right.
Which is why, yeah. And that was when Nikos was doing his everything looks like it's made of sunlight, period. And I preferred him, but yeah, you can there's just a slight difference in how this is rendered compared to the rest of the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Combination of the coloring's different, and back then the line work was a little bit more in this, well, at least in this particular scene, it was more intricate.
Right.
I don't know. It's just interesting to have both of them right next to each other to do a direct comparison, at least to me.
Yeah.
So anyway,
yeah,
the verdict comes down. Dragon's going to prison.
I love the judge coughing with his fingers up in front of his nose.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice that in that first panel.
Off to the shoulder blade of the silhouette, the right shoulder blade of the silhouette. There's Judge Coffin, exact same pose, even from the side.
I like the very last panel. It's like Malcolm and Angel talking, and Malcolm goes, "Now what?" And Angel says, "Now, little brother, this is where it all goes to hell."
Yeah, you gotta wonder what's gonna happen
Bum,
next.
bum, bum.
Because you just know with Dragon out of the picture, even temporarily, villains are gonna try to take advantage of the situation. Granted, I mean, Dragon's been out of the picture for a while, so maybe, I don't know. It definitely puts his kids into a bad light, and their aspirations might get, derailed as a result of this verdict.
It's a great, I think it's a great page. Even the panel with the signs outside of the courthouse, you can see that, there's more people that are in favor of the, negative testimony than there are. There's, believe him and the other sign, but, the other three signs are, kill him, yada yada. So it seems like even public favor is against him, really.
Yeah.
It says here the prosecutors are seeking death penalty, so maybe that'll be the big change in 193. Maybe Dragon gets the chair.
See, it was funny, too. It says set for May 12th, and so this book's real time. So does that mean in May we're going to see a death sentence?
Yeah, that's actually, setting in May is actually a really good point. I mean, we could very well see, the sentencing in that particular issue.
Huh.
Good thought. We'll keep an eye out for it.
Just saying.
So no backup in this book?
No, but we do get 6 pages of letters, which we haven't had a long one of those since ever.
Yeah, and it used to be all the time when they used to have 6 pages, so that's cool. I hope it keeps up. I don't know if it will, but
yeah, back when I first started reading Savage Dragon in the the 90s and the 90s and the early 100s, I noticed that the letter pages were 8-10 pages long or ridiculous.
And I'll definitely just add that, letter writers, this is one of the few comics that has a letters column still, And really, you don't know the service that sometimes you provide for like just people who are randomly collecting. When I had a huge gap where I just wasn't getting any comics, and then when I came back to it, I was getting stuff spotty, and sometimes reading the letters column would really help me fill in the blanks.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's awesome. It's a good thing to write letters.
I love when people ask questions because sometimes it reveals things that probably wouldn't have ever been revealed, and it's cool. It's real fun. I enjoy it, and when you're paying $4 for a comic, if you can get 3 or 4 pages of letters, that's even more entertainment value. It takes quite a bit of time to get through the letters, and it's fun.
Hey, interesting. On second to last letters page, this guy Sean asks, "Does Powerhouse even age? If so, is it only in chicken years or Super Freak chicken years?" And Erik answered, "I would suppose so. A lot of the descendants of the gods seem to age slower, but his human counterpart would certainly show signs of aging if he ever changed back."
There you go.
So there's
See,
that.
Guys, that's why the letters column rocks.
Right.
That's awesome. That's good. Good find.
So keep it up. And then the back cover, next issue, Zeke, which we all know by now is the writing debut of our good friend Gavin Higginbotham and Frank Fosco on art chores. And Adam, right, is lettering it or coloring it?
Probably has some going on part of it.
Yeah.
I don't think he's coloring it. I think he's lettering it.
Lettering, yeah.
Don't quote me.
I like how uninformed we are of his involvement. And Adam is there.
He should be here talking about it.
Now, you guys have print copies. This is the back page.
The very last page says next issue, Zeke, and it's him.
No, I mean, is it inside or outside?
Outside.
Back page. It is outside.
Yep.
Okay.
Back of the book.
Because the last page of mine, I was curious if it was on the back.
So it is in the digital version?
Oh, yeah.
That's cool. These are scanned pencils. So that's kind of different for Frank, isn't it?
See, I thought it looked a little bit different than. So at first I wasn't even sure if it was Frank. It's so different.
Does he do that a lot? I mean, that's kind of different for me. I mean,
and I think it's just the cover because I've seen some of the previews, and I think has Adam posted some of the previews on the Savage Dragon forum?
Yeah. Spoiler alert. Wait, didn't we all get it?
I didn't get it, so don't hurt my feelings. No, I'm kidding. I don't care.
It's
oh, that's right. You weren't here for the Frank interview, so you're not on the mailing list.
It's pretty much Frank's inks look like. It doesn't look like scanned pencils on the insides.
Cool.
It's Frank inking himself, I believe, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, the final product is definitely what we're used to with the Vanguard backups and that sort of thing. It's just this back cover looks like it was colored over pencils.
Yeah.
It's slobbery.
Yeah.
So I can't wait. I love Zeke character, and it'll be fun. I'm glad we're getting a backup that's related to the Savage Dragon universe. And
I'm just glad we're getting one related to the Rockhouse Diner crew.
Yeah, and it's drawn by
Rockhouse
Frank.
Diner.
And it's always fun to see Gavin make his writing debut.
Yeah, I'm jealous. So yeah, Zeke next issue. That's something to look forward to. So speaking of next issue,
yes, the solicitation for 186. That issue's already upon us. The long goodbye. The next generation of the vicious circle is rising. The city of Chicago sits on the brink of destruction. With his world crashing around him, Malcolm Dragon loses the one person he needs the most, his adopted sister Angel. Now, Malcolm Dragon faces his greatest challenge ever, alone.
And we'll be talking about that real soon.
Yeah, that one's got a neat cover. So we'll talk about, hopefully we'll get back together again very soon and get that one out in a more timely fashion than this one.
Cool. I really enjoyed this issue. 185 was a great issue.
Yeah, especially if you're well, I highly doubt we're talking to anyone who's a new reader, but this is a really good, jumping on point issue, just because there's just so much, of Dragon's history, brought up.
Right.
It gives you the context you need to really get into what's going on in this world. So, if you have any friends who don't read Savage Dragon, put this issue in their hands. That's my advice.
I definitely
Sound advice.
Second that 100%.
Cool. And if there's any comments you want to make about the episode or anything, send us an email again, savagefincast@gmail.com.
Yep,
We'd love to hear from you.
Yep. If you got any questions, we'll answer them. If you got any trivia, throw it at us. Anything you want to see on the show, we want to hear from you. So.
Cool. See you guys next time.
Thanks so much, fellas.
The Savage FINcast is a part of the Gutter Trash Network and the Image Addiction family of podcasts. It can be found at either fincast.guttertrash.net or imageaddiction.net.